Pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Karen, call to order, please.
Sure. Mr. Casey,
Here.
Ms. Johnson, Ms. Jones. Here. Mr. Maybe,
Here.
Mr. Manos, Mr. Ross, Mr. Stan.
Here.
Mr. Tinoco,
Here.
Ms. Zamora, and Chair White.
Here.
Do you have a quorum, sir?
Thank you. Before we start, I'd like to introduce Christine Jones. She was here last month. She is our newest member of the CRA. Christine, you want to tell where you're from, about yourself real quick?
Well, I live in Lauderdale Manor and I've been around, I'm a city employee, I'm a city resident for all my life. My husband used to work for the city. He passed 4 years ago.
Okay.
I worked for Broward County for 35 and a half years, retired 17 years ago. So now I'm involved with all this other stuff, including y'all know that political arena, so that's where I'm at. So this is gonna be interesting for me because I never sat on this type of a board before. I've been homeowners vice president of Lauderdale Manor for many years, so I gave it up to do something different.
Always to have you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we will start. We have a presentation. We have Steve Schwartz back of the owner and CEO of Art of Tea. We did a presentation last month and we asked him to bring it back. I believe that's what the board wanted. So, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to connect. So my name is Steve Schwartz. I'm here with my wife, Colin Schwartz. And we're going to be presenting on the 900 Northeast 13th Street proposed renovations and improvements for existing warehouse. To give you some background on me, most of you guys have already seen the presentation through my assistant Rachel, and we were out of the country at the time. Bless her, you know, she is not one to present, and she just in full force did whatever she could to come up and present. And so thank you for accepting her into the questions and to the arena. I want to thank Sita. She's been so awesome, and the team has just been so awesome for us navigating and really trying to understand what the process is of CRA. I also want to thank our lovely neighbor Mel, who's you guys have helped fund and establish this incredible build out. We were there today at the building. It's just beautiful what you guys are doing, and hopefully we can help paint a picture of how this flow with what we're doing in RT and some of these amazing collaborations that we can have within the communities. So a bit of a background. I got a full paid scholarship at a high school to go to college, and 6 months into it, my mom got diagnosed with brain cancer. So I dropped out of college and I moved in with her, and I was her primary caretaker. And we went from one Western doctor to another Western doctor. Not that there's anything wrong with Western medicine, but this didn't work for my mom. And so she ended up passing away, and it really woke me up, got me thinking more about health and wellness. And I wanted to understand how I could help other people take care of their health and wellness. And so I found a school that integrated medicine that took Eastern and Western medicine together. And I fell in love with the alchemy of blending herbs and teas and botanicals. So much so that I started bringing, I was chosen as the only student advanced enough. And while I was learning about how to, source these different botanicals while I was at school, I wanted to learn where the stuff came from and how it was grown. And so I saved up my money. I worked 4 different jobs. I cleaned houses. I worked at the pharmacy. I was at school full time. I did whatever I could. I got a backpack and I started traveling around the world to find the best teas and botanicals possible. So I had no idea that I was going to start a tea company. I just knew that I was a huge tea nerd and into it. And I started bringing stuff back for friends and family. And I caught the attention of Wolfgang Puck. Wow. And Wolfgang Puck said, hey, we know where our coffee comes from. We know where our fish comes from. And our kale comes from, but we have no idea where tea comes from. Can you help educate us? Can you help lead on that? And so they flew me around all over the country to all the different Wolfgang Puck fine dining groups. And then Caesar's Palace, they caught attention of this guy that knew a bit about tea. And they said, can you train a tea sommelier? Is there such thing as a tea sommelier? So I trained the first tea sommelier in the United States, and that was at Caesar's Palace. They fly me out once a month for about a year and a half. And then we really started to dive into hospitality. And so, hence we're in places like Pier 66. Sure you guys are familiar with Pier 66, it's beautiful. I trained their different baristas and their GMs and really connected with them on a deep level. We work with other cruise lines, and this is one of the main reasons why we fell in love with South Florida. But I'll talk a bit about that connection with Fort Lauderdale and with South Florida in just a bit. But essentially, I remember back in the day. Now you have to understand, we built this in our living room. So there was no financiers, there's no funding, like there was no, it's not this big public organization. Like we've been at this for 21 years, but we started in my mother-in-law's living room and blending and packing and sourcing. So my cell phone was literally my center for customer service and for sales and account management and all that stuff. So I remember getting a call at 10:30 at night one time from a waiter saying, "Is this Art of Tea?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Okay, I have a customer here that wants to order tea. Where they love it at this restaurant. Where can they come pick it up?" And so I said, "You know what? Tell them to go to our website, and then they can come by and they can come pick up an order." And so sure enough, this guy rolls up in a Bentley, and he's like, "This is the best iced tea I've ever had. Like, I don't know what you're doing. This is incredible." And we were in this little shack. We were like behind a gas station in West Hollywood, where we're from. And he's like, "Is this, you guys seem so much bigger. I had no idea that this is," and so we started having people come by and pick up their orders, and we really established this community of this direct to consumer presence combined with this hospitality presence. And so fast forward,
Hi,
so 20 plus years ago, we're now in our 21st year, approaching our 22nd year soon. My wife and I recently got married, and we were starting this company, and we had a baby on the way, the tall redhead. Her name's Yali, and she's now in college. But essentially, what we realized is like we have to establish an opportunity to like really create something that's meaningful and impactful, that's long-term. It's not just gonna be something out of our living room anymore. So we got this, little warehouse space, and then we got a bigger space. And now we're in Monterey Park, California, which is in Southern California. It's a beautiful space. And during COVID, my wife and I came out here. I'm like, what is this place? Miami and Fort Lauderdale, like South Florida. Well, how come we never been here before? This is incredible.
Amazing.
And so we fell in love with this place. And so we decided, you know what, let's make an impact. Let's uproot our kids and our family, and let's establish residency. Let's really figure out what moving here could really look like and be like. So we came here, and then we decided, let's figure out how we can extend our business. And so everything that we do, we want to do with class. We want to do with the utmost care. And so we not only do we take our family, but we wanted to figure out where's the next best location for us to build our second presence. And we realized that South Florida is so important to us. It's actually our second most important state behind California. And the reason is because we work with a lot of cruise lines. And one of the things that I found, and our kids play volleyball here in Fort Lauderdale, is that every time they play in the large area where the cruise come off, there's a lot of people that come off those cruises and they have nothing to do for hours. I don't know if you've seen them. They're wandering around, right? There's cafes, Pure Vita's slammed right near there. We work with Pure Vita, by the way. We do their tea program. But there's a number of people that don't have an actual place that they can go to, but they're experiencing our tea on these places. We do the tea program for Carnival, for Holland America, for Princess, and a number of other cruise lines. And so as they're experiencing our teas, we want to continue to be able, just like that phone call at 10:30 at night, we want to be able to refer them to a place that they can come to really experience that headquarters that we're moving to, which is here in Fort Lauderdale. Now, why Fort Lauderdale? We could have found a warehouse in Davie. It would have been significantly cheaper. We could have found a modern Pompano Beach warehouse with 30-foot ceilings, AA rated class, but we didn't. What we found was a street that we fell in love with, a vibe, an energy, and a trend that we felt like this has potential. This has potential for people to walk to. This has potential for people to be able to commerce. This has a community vibe and feel. And so I'd walk into cafes and there was something missing. I'd walk into some of the different local stores, and granted, Milk and Honey, I believe is hi, welcome, is doing a great job. The pottery, there's things that have, it's just ready to take off. And there needs to be more. So when we saw this building and we saw the street, there's something that kind of slows you down as you're going through I think the sculpture is taken down now, maybe they're putting up a new sculpture, but as you're going on 13th and you start to see what's happening and what's building, and we decided we want to be a part of this. This is something that has legs and something that has momentum. Again, we could have easily picked a warehouse in the middle of nowhere. We decided specifically to pick something where we could have a presence, we put a flag in the ground and be a part of a community. So what do? There's actually three parts to what we're thinking for this project that can make this so powerful and meaningful. The first part is, we blend. So we import from all over the world. I'm going to Rwanda in 2 days. My wife is so patient with me. Like I travel around the world. I work with different growers and farmers from around the world. We bring it in. We do our own blending, our own packing, and we work with these organic small farms. And we really help create that strong livelihood with these amazing farmers. I can tell you phenomenal stories, but it's nothing to do with this building. But let's talk a bit about this building and what makes this building so special. One, this is the dilapidated building that you're seeing now with homeless people that we're calling the police almost on an ongoing basis saying, can you please help us? And I'm having direct conversations with them and they're saying, they're sorry, there's nothing that we can do. And honestly, because of its vacancy and because of its location, there's a tremendous opportunity for us to make it look more beautiful, more inviting and more engaging. And this space, this warehouse, it's gonna have part of it for storing tea, the other part for production. And imagine you're going in a Willy Wonka factory, you want to see how the sauce is made. So we're gonna have visuals inside where people can actually see how it's made. And then there's gonna be a tasting bar where people can come and experience tea, just like what we're doing for some of our other amazing collabs. So going from that dilapidated space, we just did demo over the past few weeks. And now this is the vision. This is what we're seeing for the future. Windows that go close to the floor. A ramp that's easy for people to access and walk up to, for the public to be able to come in through the building on both sides. Deliveries for our wholesale area for those trucks to be able to come with clear space on the other side of the building. And you can see the seating. You can see this public seating that's able for one, our staff, and two, as we do events and as we do tastings and as we do activations, for them to be able to come and access this seating. This is the warehouse, or what was started part of the warehouse as of 2 weeks ago. And as we just went there today, it was completely demolished. And it's empty and it's a shell and it's ready for us to make it really beautiful. But I need your help. This is part of the vision. So imagine a tea bar. We're coming in, we're able to sit down, you're able to meet with these master blenders, you're able to meet through this tasting experience. You can, one, potentially create your own blend, or two, you can pick up an order. You want to go online and go to artoftea.com and you can pick up your order. This is an opportunity for you to do it here. So this is the tea bar area. So we're going to have this cross collaboration of, you have this visual where you can see the production side with this glass, where you can see where and how the tea is being made. And then you can sit down and actually enjoy delicious cup of tea. So what's the project benefits here? Well, we'd like to create at least 7 jobs. We have about 40 plus people on our team right now in Los Angeles. And as we're seeing a tremendous growth on the East Coast and Florida with all the effort that we're putting into it, we see at least 7 new jobs being created. And that's production. It'd be amazing if we could source local production, local talent within Fort Lauderdale. So that's production, it's operations, it's shipping, it's marketing, it's sales, and business development roles. And we're actively hiring for some of those roles now. And ideally, we're transforming a vacant warehouse into an active business hub. With this elevated design, landscaping, and operated by a company, even though we started with nothing, the fact that we've been around for 21 years at this point is pretty remarkable. We've gone through the 2008 to our 28 craziness, which we all experienced. been through COVID, which I had brown hair and a brown beard for COVID. And that was really hard. We've been through a lot, but what I realized is that Miami is becoming a blue city and Fort Lauderdale is very close behind it. I think that there's a wellness and we're close to a CrossFit gym, we're close to an M&A studio, we're close to yoga studios. There's need for wellness, there's need for health, there's need for art, there's need for beauty, and I believe that we cross all those bridges with T. Logistically, for us to reduce lead times to our wholesale partners for Pier 66, Princess Cruises, Pure Vita, Carnival, that's awesome. Our partners will be really happy. And then we can provide local training for them to be able to come in and do the local training with us. And one of the reasons why we want this to be beautiful is we want to increase the foot traffic in the area. Again, we could have gone into a warehouse in Davie, we could have gotten a warehouse in multiple areas, but we fell in love with the street. And then of course, there's the offline. So there's the offline presence of what we're doing, and then there's the online presence. So working with local influencers, we're working with Beauty Boost. We're working with which is a local marketing agency. We're doing collaborations with a lot of different social media influencers in the area. So to be able to help drive attention and traffic to what we're doing. We're already starting to plant seeds, letting people know we're here to stay, we're here to make an impact. Our design phase, May to August, permitting, August to October, we're now stretching into November for part of our permitting since we just finished our demolition. And then our construction and overall launch with the hopeful target date of February or middle of Q1 2026, where we're operational. We selected Alberto Spara of Aqua Green. The way that we found him was that as we were looking for warehouses, he owned and developed his own warehouses. He wasn't taking any projects on, and our realtor was like, you know what, you're looking for contractors, he might be able to take you guys on, why don't you meet with him? And he's a little rough around the edges for me, but my wife can smooth that out. She's amazing with him. And I'm kind of a softie, and he's pretty hardcore, so my wife is able to really have the patience because he's so talented. Look at this, so talented. So this gives you guys an idea of the external. I'm assuming most of you, have you guys all seen this?
I don't think we saw this video.
That.
So, yeah, the street pretty.
We wanna have seating on the side there, seating inside, and to have like this experiential experience where you can come in, you see the process, and then you could buy it, you could taste it. It's just, everything is so visual today. It's not just like walking into a store and just grabbing something, but you see the whole making of it behind it, and I think it just adds so much more. People want to experience more things today and see where things are coming from and how they're made. Be part of it. It's such a beautiful area.
Yeah, to go inside or maybe just outside. So mesmerizing with technology, right? Wow. Okay. So overall project cost. So we got an SBA loan. We put in money towards the SBA loan. Put in 10% plus, all the other closing costs. The construction, we got a construction loan. We're looking at like 1.25. We've also put in our own investment into it as well. What we're asking for is $550,000, and part of that's the commercial facade, and the other part of that is the meat and the bones, and that's the property business improvements, and that's $425,000. And then there's other project costs: commercial insurance, equipment purchasing, application architect, permit fees. And then so these are some of the new slides. So again, the major reasons why we fell in love with this. I keep saying the street because I don't know if you've all been on the street. There's a special energy on the street, right? I think you have to have some vision with it, but there's a special energy on the street. And I think some of these incredible businesses that are there, we can all benefit from cross collaboration. And so whether it's partnering with the pottery studio and creating special pottery, we work with restaurants where we can potentially do some fun collaboration with a custom teapot or matcha bowls. If any of you drink matcha, either it's very polarizing matcha, right? Either you love it or you hate it, that's okay. So we take the cake, you know, being able to, we work with a number of bakeries across the country. So being able to work with them, Milk Money, you know, we do custom iced tea programs for a number of different restaurants, potentially creating a fun collaborative mocktail or cocktail with our tea, their iced teas. So we pack iced tea, we source matcha, we do our own sachets, tea bags, and loose leaf tea. So all that is packed and blended. We're a completely vertically integrated company. So being able to do these fun, innovative projects with some of our local partners could be really exciting. And we've already done some sponsorships with run clubs and some yoga studios around the area already. In terms of events, as we showed you that table before, this is an idea. Imagine Cold Stone Creamery. Do you guys have Cold Stone Creamery around here? Okay, so like imagine picking your own ice cream and then you can pick your own toppings and blends. So that's essentially what can be done here is with these event activations, someone can come in, they can pick the base and they can pick the different ingredients, whether it's dried fruit or dried flowers or cacao nibs, chocolate, and they can create their own blends and name it whatever they want. We've done that for Selena Gomez, for her Rare Beauty. We've done it for Oprah. We've done it for Zoetry. We were just in St. Lucia just a few months ago, working on a really cool project with them, doing these blend activations, and then the skincare line, Mailing Dots. So those are just some examples of some of the things that we can do and are looking forward to doing here at our space in Fort Lauderdale. This is an idea, an example of us doing a matcha tasting sample. And then I look like I've lost some weight compared to that, but that's me doing the tasting actually at Pier 66. And I'm doing the training and tasting there at Pier 66. And so being able to take that in-house, being able to actually bring people in our own facility, let them know about 13th Street, let them know about what we're up to, and then drive local business to the area as well. So when they're done and they want to eat dinner, they're full of caffeine and they're freaking starving and they want to go eat something or have a beer instead of all the tea that they just had, they can go over to Milk Money and do it. They want to go make pottery, they want to go pick up some cakes, they want to go look at some beautiful art at the art studio that's opening up. Like there's a lot of things that could happen. But this cross-pollination is something that we got really excited about. By the way, our first space, I don't know if this is relevant or not, but I'm going to share it anyway since I have the full floor, is her friend Jeff opened up an art gallery. He was doing framing, and he's like, this is 2008, and he's like, can you rent it? You want to rent out the back half of my warehouse, of my store, because business is so slow and I could use a rent. So he literally put a wall up, and that was our first space. This was behind the gas station I was talking about. And then the next day, guess who opened up? Or not the next day, but the next few months, there's another art studio that opened up right next to him. I'm like, oh my God, aren't you upset? He's like, no, Steve, this is great, because people are going to come to his store to look for certain things. And if they don't find something in his store, then they're going to come to my store. And it just made sense. It was just relevant. So, you know, this is where when you're in a dark room, it's not just one candle that can light up a room, but multiple lights can light up a room. So I believe that we would come and we'd add that light amongst all the effort and light that's already being added on the space. In terms of extra things that we've done, and let people know that we're here. We sponsored by MBO. We're the first tea sponsor ever. This is earlier this year. This gives you an idea. Imagine walking into our store. Imagine walking into beautiful, feels very South Florida, and being able to pick this up and being able to buy it. So this is, you know, having this showroom, having this capacity, having this availability would be really exciting for us. In terms of timeline, operational opening, curated tasting event, on site in Q1, Q2, being able to buy products online and pick up in store, doing events and activations. In Q4, this is game time for us, Q4. Q4, it's not just Black Friday and Cyber Monday, as the weather starts to change, people are much more concerned about health and wellness, like my throat is bothering me, my stomach is bothering me. I want to turn my life around and start drinking and eating better things. And so Q4 starts to be more impactful also for gift giving. And so this is an important time. And I believe by that point, we should have a lot of our operational process down. We should have a lot of our systems down, and we should be smooth running by then. So again, I already shared why Fort Lauderdale. I didn't know this. Like 80% of the U.S. population lives east of the Mississippi. That's just mind blowing to me. And knowing that we're so close to port as well is also awesome. So from a convenience location, that's just incredible. And again, we work with amazing brands from Princess Cruises, Holland America Cruise Lines, Carnival, Pier 66, Nobu, and more. And we can encourage the local traffic that's on these different locations to come and visit us here in Fort Lauderdale. There's like this line, Northeast 13th Street is an up and coming area with art, cool local business, and a great place for our employees to have lunch or go by nearby for dinner, like the Williamsburg of Florida. So we see a lot of potential. And in general, we just fell in love with the area and we fell in love with the community. These are some of the locations that we work with, from Gordon Ramsay to Google. If you work in Google or some of these, even Meta, or some of these other places here in South Florida, and you go to their offices, you'll see our tea program in there. You won't find us in supermarkets. We're not a supermarket tea brand. We're very deliberate about that. We source the top 1% to 2% of all teas that are produced in the world, so it's a more of a higher upper echelon quality experience. So in general, going back, our overall goal is to eliminate the slum and blight and foster dynamic and vibrant commercial, resident, environmental I lost it. You can see it? Okay, great. You can see it. I can't see it on my computer. Like, what the heck am I doing? Now you know what I'm doing. Okay, cool. Thank you. So to foster a vibrant commercial and residential environment, expand commercial and economic opportunities. The cool thing about our space is that it's right in the center of 3 different communities. So there's no place that you can go to now for a tea experience. And so knowing that there's so much community around us, we'd like to be able to drive that traffic and help be a magnet to everything else that's going on in that street. So for the CRA objectives, these programs and projects include business attraction, retention. I've seen just in the short period of time since I purchased the building, there's been multiple businesses that haven't been able to sustain. So because we have staying power, because we have 20 plus years and we purchased the building, we're not going anywhere. It's our home. We want to make it impactful. And promote an improved and safer neighborhood environment and restoration of community pride. So to affect positive redevelopment, these are things obviously that the CRA helps orchestrate: progressive business development initiatives, infrastructure, public improvements to stimulate private investments, and for us to be able to produce events and seminars to foster economic development and build a community. It's exciting. So the non-residential facade improvement program is to help update exteriors of buildings. And that's where we're looking for that 125. And the property and business improvement, the PVIP, helps with the elimination of blight and removal and deterioration of everything on the inside and structure, and it was pretty gross inside. Right, I can't think of another nice way of saying it, I feel like it was pretty gross inside. Yeah, it was run down, it needed love. So, you know, we're requesting 550 because we wanna make this beautiful, we wanna make it permanent, and we wanna make it everlasting. So, for the PBI eligible project costs, all costs are associated with interior and exterior renovations of existing non-residential buildings, including interior improvements, restoration, rehabilitation, permanently attached fixtures or systems, architectural engineering permit fees, application fees, property taxes, and city liens, and property insurance, and the PBI funding conditions, job creation, which I love. I'm a big culture guy. I like, if there's one thing that I've learned over the 21 years is you gotta hire rock stars. You gotta hire people that believe in your mission and believe what you stand for and align. And that takes time to grow. That takes time to really culture and foster. But it's exciting when it happens. And you know, the 40+ people that we have on our team, we have a significant retention rate. We have people that have worked there for 10+ years, some, you know, close to 15 years. And so to be able to have sustaining job growth is really exciting. And
Steve, I think that was your last page.
okay.
Yeah, your last one is thank you.
Okay.
Helpful.
Yeah. So, you guys have been so awesome. Thank you for letting me just have the mic for a bit and be able to share who we are or about. I'd love to be able to learn from you as well and foster any questions.
All right, we'll start with the board. Questions?
Welcome, Ann. I think last time, was that your daughter that was with it?
No, yeah, it looked like my daughter. No, I don't think it is at all. No.
Just saw the family photos. A lot of.
No, she's my assistant. Yeah, yeah, she's my assistant. And bless her heart, because Nicolette, she doesn't present, and I'm like, just tell them you've never presented before, you're gonna be okay. It's like but she knew that we were out of town, and she knew how important it was to show up for this meeting, because every month that we've been holding off on the CRA, because every month that we're holding off, we're spending on rent and our mortgage. And so she's like, let me just show up. So bless her heart for trying to show up as best as possible.
Well, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
So if, as far as I remember, last month, there were two things that, at least to me, stood out. That's the retail opportunities and events, and the second thing was breakdown on funding, and especially funding the exterior versus interior. So I was expecting to see some changes this time in those two points. So my question, I guess my two questions are about those two things. First of all, how will exactly the community benefit from your it looks like a beautiful project.
Thank you.
Honestly. And the second thing, I did see the cost and funding breakdown on Exhibit G, but all I see here is a total amount and the amount that you're requesting, 550K. But I don't see how the 125 plus 425, what exact items, how does it add up? What work will be done with?
Yeah, exactly. In our application process, we did put a complete breakdown. So maybe you can follow up with what that might look like.
I think it would be beneficial that we see that, because there are some things that we as CRA want to incentivize and sponsor.
Yeah.
And definitely exterior, because some and blight, like you have on your slide, and see you highlighted a lot of the overlaps in our objectives. So I think that will help.
Thank you for your feedback. And then in terms of the events and retail, yes, that's where in one of the slides, and unfortunately, Nicolette, I can't go back to it. But in one of the slides, I was showcasing how what that space could look like, right? Where we're building out that T-bar, And what my wife Lee's Hall pointed out, the seating where people can come and they can sit. And this is where we would do the events, the activations, and actually have a home where people can come and experience our tea firsthand. Order pickup for events and for the public to be able to come and have a home that they can come to.
Okay, I did read the order pickups, ordering online, people can come in to pick up their order.
Should I go back to the slide?
No, maybe just explain how,
Yeah.
how open will it be to the public? So I understood that people won't be able to, it's not a store, like people won't be able to just walk in there and buy tea. Or
Yeah,
have,
well, you know, that showroom, like we wanna be able to have a showroom, people can come and be able to pick up and buy tea. Yeah, it's not gonna be a cafe full-time, we will have events and activations where people can come, and we'll be very deliberate about that.
how often will those events happen?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, that's a great question. The events where we hope, right now, we do trainings in LA and we're doing trainings here, they're happening at least a couple times a week. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, questions.
Anybody has questions?
So it's, question, it's not gonna be retail ever, or?
Yes, I'm sorry if I didn't explain that clear enough. Yes, there is gonna be a retail component where people can come and they can do order pickup, they can walk in and they can actually buy the tea. And that, just like we were showing at Miami Open, where you saw all the beautiful teas and all the beautiful packaging. And this is also why I brought this here, so you guys can see firsthand. They're very retail ready products. And just imagine getting off a ship or going to someplace like Pure Vita and wanting to know where you can pick this up, then people can come in and they can buy retail. And this is also where we want to drive local traffic. So if someone's coming into our store and then they can also walk over to the art gallery. They can go grab dinner at Milk Money. They can go make pottery. So we want to be part of that integral community. Because again, we could have picked a warehouse in Davie. We could have picked a warehouse in the middle of nowhere. We wanted to be a part of the community.
But it's not gonna be, sorry, it's not gonna be a cafe, it's gonna be pick up, purchase and leave.
So we'll have events, very different events where people can come and they can have a cafe, especially when we have those seatings, especially as we get closer to Q4. We want to be inviting to the community.
Questions, board?
Just to reiterate, sorry, a big portion of our business is gifting. So we want people to come in and be able to buy these retail gifts. So when we picture retail, and I don't know how important the retail component is for CRA, and as we're looking at that, maybe you can help answer that.
Yeah, anyone has questions, because I've got several.
One last question, do you do retail in LA?
We do retail, yes.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this, it says, how many new permanent jobs would be created by this project?
How many what, I'm sorry?
How many new permanent jobs will be created by this project?
Yeah, a minimum of 7. As we continue to grow, we anticipate a minimum of 7 jobs.
And what would those jobs titles be?
I wish I could go back to the slide, but we have shipping, we have operations, we have business development, we have account management, and we have marketing.
Also, as that continues to go, just like our LA team started off smaller and then continues to grow. That's what we're anticipating, and our trajectory is for Florida as well. We're starting off there, but that's not where it's gonna end. I would imagine that it would be even similar or potentially greater than LA ultimately, if you have 40 people there. And
Yeah.
they-
Yeah,
It's like building another team.
yeah, in an ideal world, we're also gonna migrate some of our talent from Los Angeles. That's really exciting. Like, when are we done with the warehouse? When can I move out there? So we want to migrate some of our team members out here as well.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? So before it's public, thank you for the presentation. I think it's a beautiful look. It could be something I know well. I would say when it's best rental, would pick up my rental there. So I understand what you're living through and going through, and then of course, mailing them with the Call of Africa, I think it is, and to put that together. My questions, which are the same questions as last time, is there a retail or first thing, let me ask you a question. You just ask us, what is the retail presence importance? to me, and I think this board, and please tell me if I'm wrong, board, we have fostered a work, live, play environment for the entire CRA, and especially that section, Fourth Avenue. Those go down to Flagler. I keep saying that and people are tired, but not that big, dense, but that's the kind of environment where we do it. What do you bring, that's my first question, that's going to enhance that besides a warehouse?
That's a great question. What I hear you asking is, Steve, what we saw in the last presentation was a warehouse only, right? So my question to you is, what, you know, and my feedback to you is, as we look at, again, I wish I could go back in the slides, but this isn't just a warehouse. There's an office space, there's a production space, and there's a tea room. Where people can come, they can pick up their orders, we can do events where people are doing tastings. So imagine going into a winery. And typically when you go to a winery, you don't buy wine by the glass, you'll do a tasting. And so imagine that winery environment, someone's coming and doing a tasting and then falling in love with that bottle of wine and purchasing that bottle of wine. So this is what we envision.
And I'll use, We Take the Cake, probably closest example to what you have, because they ship a lot. They're international, national shipping, but they have an amazing retail presence. It's not huge, but it's a great retail presence. It adds to the neighborhood. You can go in there, you can buy your cakes, you can take your cakes, you can buy cupcakes. It truly does add to the neighborhood. It's a presence. And I guess for me, is there a guarantee that you're going to have retail where people can do what they do if We Take the Cake, and there's other businesses that I can name that you can go in there and purchase, rather than just events, which is gonna bring people, and I understand the thoughts of people gonna come and they're gonna go eat and that stuff. But in my vision, that's not, we have a lot of that. I call that takeaway. You know, I call that not giving back to the community. I think what we envision in any of our restaurants, any of our other facilities, we got a lot of warehouses that do a lot of takeaway, is that we envision, because we're building, we want to build a tea room that I can go in and buy tea. I can have a retail presence, not just have the event, like you said, you have retail in Hollywood. You know, for us, I think that is real important to the neighborhood and the CRA and any redevelopment, especially that we're giving money to, because we are charged with, yes, beautify the neighborhood, take your neighborhood, but we've agreed to a mission that we're here to enhance work, live, play. You're enhancing it with work with 7 people. You're enhancing it with bringing the neighborhood back up. But what are you doing to enhance the vision that we have of the retail, that We Take the Cake? And I use that because I buy cakes almost every month. But that's because a lot of people do, and they are an asset to the community. Not that your building won't be an asset, but what are you doing as an asset to the foot traffic and bringing people, because that's what we're trying to build here.
Yeah.
So you asked what we wanted, that's it. My second question, which you answer that, is how many you keep saying trucks, and our revisioning is our total revisioning of that road to begin with. We've all discussed that. And a revisioning of what's being built there. We're talking about narrowing down where the railroad tracks are. How many trucks and what size trucks are you going to just be another commercial retail where We Take the Cake? They don't have tractor trailers pulling up. They have little small trucks pulling up. What is that, and what is the like of that type of traffic going into the residential neighborhoods that we already have an overflow of commercial vehicles going down and out?
Yeah. What else?
Let's answer that one. There's another one.
Let's talk about play.
Yeah.
So what I heard you say is like, hey, Steve, we see the live, we see the work, but we don't see the play.
Correct.
Where's the play? And so, and this is where that Cold Stone Creamery analogy, imagine someone coming in and creating their own blend. This is that retail component. So it's an interactive retail component. When it comes to sampling teas and tasting teas, that's part of the play. When it comes to buying the teas and seeing and touching and feeling, that's part of the play. When it's collaborating with the yoga studios and the pottery studios and the art studios, that's part of the play. could have picked a warehouse in Pompano that was beautiful, that was a shell where trucks could come up and leave. We decided we want to be part of a neighborhood. So we were very deliberate about 13th Street as being a presence and being an integral part of the community.
I want to add to that, because oftentimes we constantly encounter people asking us, where can we come buy your tea? We want to come physically to your store. Where is your store? Where are you located? You know, and we're like, oh, go online, you know, and that doesn't, you know, so we've been very intentional of wanting to have a place where people can physically come to, where they can purchase, where they can talk to the people who are creating it and they can see the process of it. And, you know, and this is where you come to. You want the address? Here's the address. This is where you come. This is where you see. This is where you buy. This is where you can experience it. And also all the new things that we're launching, like we have matcha slushies and chai slushies and things that are super innovative. It's like, this is the hub. This is where it's gonna be happening.
So
People
you
can come and experience, they can have matcha slushies and they can have chai slushies. They
And
can
iced
taste-
teas
yeah.
and, you know, they could purchase this. This is definitely part of the idea. And it's like, you experience the whole. It's not just a retail store, but you see how you can purchase, how it's made, the interaction. It's a total experience. It's like going to a chocolate factory and then kind of buying the chocolate.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's what it is.
You have that kind of operation in LA already,
Yeah.
where you're walking in and buying slushies, tea slushies?
No,
No, this is the expansion. This is what we want to do. We weren't, you know, we have some of the retail component. But our idea was always like, oh, we need more of a retail presence, because that is something that we're constantly asked. People are constantly saying, where can we come by? They want to just experience it. They don't want to sometimes just purchase it online. And we see the enthusiasm just when we did the Miami Open. So much excitement
Yeah.
with it. We have a beautiful product. People love, you know, to touch and feel and see.
Yeah, there was, I think, was there something like 300 or 800, there was like a tremendous amount of people that came to Miami Open, most of them local, from international too, but a lot of them were local. Like, where are you guys located?
Where can we come?
Yes, we're opening in Fort Lauderdale. When? Where can we come? So we were collecting those lists, we were collecting their information. So they're excited to come and be a part of our community. That's where the play comes in.
And
And it's fun for the people in the community to experience it and to be part of it. Because the locals are gonna be wanting to have, you know, the regular. Once they taste it and they enjoy the matcha, and they're gonna wanna have it again and again.
Yeah.
You know?
before we go to Fiona, I'm sorry, the second question, the traffic in the trucks.
You know, we'll get UPS trucks, which are like those are small, those are like the vans. And so that'll be happening, I honestly daily, like we'll be getting stuff daily and we'll be getting stuff out daily. We'll be getting a 20-foot truck maybe once a month, and we're getting a 40-foot truck maybe once a quarter.
Okay.
So
And
it's,
aren't they gonna come from the side, but not necessarily, because there's that whole access
yeah,
on the
from
side that comes in, you know, kind of where the boat place is and then the
the
cake.
factory.
That's easier because that's the access to
Where you're at.
the drop off. I don't think it's gonna be on that main road, but I think it's gonna be more on that side road. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We drove through it today.
Turn off Sunrise,
Turn off Sunrise.
go off the tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fiona, sorry. Fiona, it's all.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Like I said, I think
met
it's a
you. You've
beautiful.
been so helpful, by the way, thank you, I met you at one of the local meetings, so thank you.
Yes, and I'm very much part of the community, and I know a lot of our residents, they walk the neighborhood. And that's my concern and my question. I know we already asked about the retail, but how open, like, if you like, you know, the neighbors that walk, would they be able to, do they have to make an appointment, or can they just walk in?
They could come in.
I mean,
can come in.
because I don't know how restricted you guys were with the, on the sampling of the products and stuff, because we have a lot of neighbors that walk the neighborhood on 13th Street. So I think we don't want them to feel like they come in and you're like, oh no, you have to make an appointment. You have to wait.
I want someone to be able to go to his art gallery and take a beautiful piece of art, Or maybe coming and get some tea and then go over to the art,
Yeah, 'cause
right?
the neighbors are like that in the 13th Street. They walk and they'll go to the different businesses and
Yeah.
I wanted to know if you guys are gonna be as open as it has to be appointment based only or you have. So that's the important part of that neighborhood is the accessibility to the residents and all the other business owners.
And wouldn't you say it's a perfect location for that?
I mean, if you are open and you are able to not restrict the residents,
Yeah.
for sure.
One, we have the parking. Two, we have the location, the visibility. So for people, we will have that, beautiful walkway where people can come and walk up. So I think it checks all the boxes for the community to be able to be good.
Okay.
And you'd be able to see through the factory where you can actually see how things are being made and how things are. So imagine going to a chocolate factory and seeing how the chocolate's made. So you'd be going to the tea-bar, you're hiring all retail components working in the neighborhood, and you'll be able to visually see what's happening in the process.
Yeah, I think that's really
good.
important. I think that's really important that, the business is open to the public, like on a regular basis, not just for events, but just for the regular a mom and pop that wants to walk their dog and they're just in the neighborhood and they see you open and they wanted to pop their head in and see what you're all about.
That's
I
awesome.
think that'll be important. You guys can make sure that,
We'll make,
that we
we'll
offer.
make sure that the events are really more curated for the larger collabs, whether with working with influencers, whether working with a community dynamic. And it's doing that Cold Stone Creamery style thing, that's really where the event activations are more intentional.
Olga, you had a question? Olga?
Hi, good evening.
Olga.
How are you? Thank you so much for your time and restating the presentation that we saw
Yeah.
last time. I appreciate it. I want to echo, and I have a concern that some of the neighbors, the member neighbors have already articulated about the trucks, the egress and the ingress of the trucks. And I can visually see where they would come from because I can see the trucks delivering on 13th and creating a huge problem, not only for the aesthetic purposes, but also for traffic purposes. But Member Staub basically showed me where they would be coming in by, so I'm okay with that now. As long as it's a voluntary commitment that you wouldn't clog 13th Street with your deliveries.
We can certainly direct the delivery drivers as best possible. We don't have our own trucks.
And I understand that, but
Yeah.
the delivery personnel could probably get used to making sure not to go that route.
Yeah, we can definitely direct, but also keep in mind, you're looking at maybe once a month, a large truck coming in.
Okay, thank you for that.
Maybe, and that, I'm thinking in LA terms.
Right.
Right, because that's what we see in LA, and that's with a 40-person team, and that's with full capacity. This is a 7-person team, this is at the start, growing and expanding. But I'm just trying to be realistic and paint a worst-case scenario, which could be.
And I appreciate that, thank you. Member Jones also brought up a good point that was brought up last month about the employees. You said that you would be bringing your team from LA, and I think the question was brought up last month, where would they live? Would they live in the city of Fort Lauderdale in one of these neighborhoods, making Fort Lauderdale their home since they're being brought in from LA? Or would you be employing someone from the communities or staff from the communities?
Yeah, so my preference is hire local and train local. We've seen tremendous success with that, with where we are in Monterey Park in California right now. No one likes the traffic in South Florida and no one likes the traffic in Los Angeles. And so the amount of stress that people will save by not being stuck in traffic will be meaningful for me to be able to really find local talent. I want to focus on the word talent for a minute because it's really important that we find people that we can really help coach up, that we can mentor, that we can guide, that are part of our company culture. So by all means, we will find and attract local talent. There are a couple people out of our recording team that would want to be part of helping to ensure that company culture cross-pollinates with what we're doing in LA, that 20+ year legacy. We're able to infuse that same positive, strong core values or ethics, what we're doing in Los Angeles, being able to infuse that with our talent here. So it's not just me with a megaphone, it's the team coming and helping infuse that. So whether they're here for short term or long term, I guarantee that they're gonna fall in love with Fort Lauderdale if anyone is coming here and they're gonna wanna live here.
And Thomas, you had a question?
Yeah, I had a quick question about the events. It seems like you guys are painting a picture that this is like a destination that then springboards with the other companies around the other locations. For the events though, are all the events like closed events? Like a big company like Google comes in with all their people? Or is it like a company, obviously you're gonna have some closed events.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have any that are like more open to like the locals could just walk it like it's an open door day or I don't know what it would be called, but.
Yeah, it's a great question. We will, it'll be a combination. So when we did, there was a picture of a company called Our Place. They opened it up and we did an event activation for the community. This is in Venice, California. We opened it up for the community for everyone and anyone. So we launched our email list. We have an email list of close to 75,000 people. And so we launched it to our entire list saying, hey, if you happen to be in Venice, come to our event. And so we would do that same here. We have our own list. We have Instagram following of 68,000 people, not to mention, TikTok and other channels. So we would invite them to come to our events. There would be some closed events. And so Rare Beauty is a great example when we did it with Selena Gomez, where she said, hey, we want just influencers and be able to do an event. Can we do it at your beautiful event, at your space? So they came to our space and we opened it up, and that was, so in some cases, it's open to the public, like especially during holiday season, we'll bring people in our space in LA, and we would do that here. People will come and they'd experience our T-bar, and we do event activations for the public, and then we'd also have it for private as well. But I would say more public than private.
Okay, I appreciate the answer.
I think it depends also like the neighborhood. I think together the neighborhood can collaborate and create events where, we're all working together. And I don't know if like sometimes they're like, the street's open, the stores are open, like you're going to taste the cupcakes. I would imagine that kind of stuff happening as well. And we'd love to.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I just want to make sure it's just not people from outside coming in.
No, the outside events are like, those are very specific and they're probably like curated for that. And then there's the open events.
Thank you.
So people can learn about us, because what we want to do is we want to become more known, more approachable. We want the locals to come so that they keep spreading the word. Have you tried Art of Tea? Have you experienced it? Oh my gosh, buy it as a gift, give it, type of thing.
You have one more question?
Yes, I have a quick question. So you were saying, sorry, 7 persons is your goal, 7 employees? Does that include?
Initially, that's for like 2026.
Yes, but my question
2027.
is, you did say that some of your employees from your California branch will be coming over. Is that included in the 7 or is it additional 7?
No, brand new jobs, the
Okay.
local brand new jobs, not importing 7 people from California. It would be bringing in 1 to 2 people from California.
And then
And
7.
some rotating staff just to help like train operations, train shipping, train production. Those are short term, but long term, it's 7+ people.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back to this picture really quick.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's like, this is the T-bar. So imagine a wine bar, you're looking through production, but you're tasting, you're training, you're sampling, followed by, this wall of, go back to this wall of tea right
You get that bar there, you can't walk in
here. Yeah, you can walk
and
in.
order a
Yes.
cup of tea.
You're imagine a winery, you can come in and you can taste the wine, but you're not gonna order a glass of wine at a winery. So you will taste our tea and you will buy the bottle of wine, or in our case, you'll buy the packages.
Takeaway.
Yeah, but we'll also do some fun things like, Lital was mentioning the iced chai and the iced matcha. I think that this is where we can, this is a new product, we just won Best New Product Specialty Coffee Association for it. So this is where we will sell those slushies, especially when it gets really hot, people aren't gonna want they're gonna want the slushie.
But they can come and they can sit.
Yeah.
We have the seating area, we're building it out for that so that they can come by it and sit down and enjoy it.
Yeah, they'll be able to sit here and enjoy it. And they'll also be able to sit here and enjoy it.
Christine?
This is my question. How would you advertise for local people to come and apply for your work? Apply for a job at Art of Tea?
Yeah, I'm open to feedback, but typically we use LinkedIn and we use Indeed. But I'm also open to feedback if you have suggestions on where to look for local talent.
Great, all right, thank you. Any other questions from the board before I open up to anyone in the public that's here to question? Okay, anyone from the public that wants to ask questions or speak?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Mel.
Introduce yourself.
Mel Lynette, Native Visions Galleries and Call of Africa, and I'd just like to just speak for a minute. Just on behalf of Steve and Vince Hall. And I guess I'll just go here. Anyway, as you guys all know, and thank you everybody for hearing Murder P again, this month. I know they came last month. And I got to learn a lot about you guys tonight that I didn't know either. And I just think the more I hear about it, the more exciting it really is, for the street in general. We've been talking, Troy, you're aware of this, and many people are, about the continued evolution and enhancements on 13th Street. And everybody's been so excited. And it just seems like we hit some stumbles now and then. And then all of a sudden, here comes Art of Tea, out of Los Angeles, and they want to move their headquarters here. And I think it's super exciting because, you've got a retail friendly business with a wholesale component, kind of a crossover connection there that is really interesting. And, you look at, like, We Take the Cake, for example. I buy cakes there too. I love them. It's better to get them when they're not frozen, but
Yes.
but still they're very good. But you go in there and they have a small retail component. You walk in, there's like no room to sit. You go and you buy your cake and then you leave. So this is much different than that, the way I see it. I mean, you walk in, you can experience the tasting bar, you can actually visually walk through. And how cool is it? I don't know anything about tea, but I can tell you what, I'm very interested in learning more about it. I'm a naturally curious person, but there's many people out there that are like that, I'm sure. You walk in and then you find yourself walking through the windows and watching how things are made. And I think that sparks interest and curiosity, and people, once they taste it, I mean, apparently it's quite good. Otherwise, you'd be on every cruise line and you wouldn't have Wolfgang Puck kind of promoting you around the country like Steve had. So I don't know, I think it's such a great enhancement, to the area in so many ways. I mean, and we're thrilled to have them as our neighbors. I mean, the best rental building has been such an eyesore for so long. We're finally, and you guys know how long it's taken us to get going on our project, and it is finally really starting to take shape. When you walk by there, now you can really get a feel for what it's going to be like. And it's going to be such a compliment to the new Art of Tea building. I mean, it will be, very contemporary looking, and I love what you've done with the outdoor seating, because that was formerly warehouse bays. Trucks would drive in, it was totally commercial, best rental. They had a showroom, but nobody ever went in there. It was not appealing whatsoever. It was not inviting at all. So what they've done here, I think, is amazing. Just when I look at the renderings and and the visual tour that we saw, and the fact that it's going to be like, because the property, the entrance to the property, the frontage is really kind of on the side, where the same street that We Take the Cake is on, and then what Valerie's Coffee Place used to be on and whatnot. So it's interesting to take that section and really turn that into more of a retail friendly component, which is what's going on. With the seating there, people can pull in, there's a big ramp, you can walk up. I mean, it's beautifully landscaped. I mean, it's going to go from being a total eyesore and a building that you wouldn't think even look at twice, to now you've got that building and our building, and it really becomes sort of, it really helps the gentrification of the area and the revitalization of 13th Street that everybody's been pushing for. And I shouldn't really say Studio City, because that's really what we all see it as, where you have the synergy of like an art gallery, or in this case, amazing teas that you can't find anywhere else. and, you know, restaurants and other things. And we don't know what other retailers we may attract in our space, but, you know, we're getting some interest. We'll see what happens, but I know that there will be people coming in, because when you look at the rates on 13th Street versus somewhere like, say, Las Olas or other, even Flagler Village and other places, it's quite attractive. So, and if we can ever get the, you know, the on-street parking extended, that will help. You know, traffic has slowed significantly since it used to be 2 lanes, of course, you know, but still, if we could find a way to get that extension, that will even add more parking and really promote the walking, dining, you know, interesting, you know, Studio City vibe that everybody, I think, is seeking. The people in the neighborhoods that live around there, I'm sure you guys feel that way too. And you want to keep seeing the transition. You know, this is not a 20-foot building. It's a very small, low, you know, low height building. It's being done quite beautifully. You know, Steve and Natal are putting a lot into it. You know, a lot of money, a lot of time and energy, and you can just hear like the enthusiasm and the interest that they have for what they're doing. And I think that says a lot to me. You know, as someone who's worked on that street for you know, nearly 16 years, you know, Ross isn't here, but you guys know him. He's been on that street for like 30 years and has seen it go from, you know, where there were pimps and drug dealers at night and you had to friggin' watch your back every which way, to what it's becoming now, which is really more and more like what we're talking about, you know, what we're seeing. So, you know, and you raise another interesting point in that here's a business that's very solid. They've been around 22 years. They're already very, very stable in Los Angeles, where they're from. They've got a lot of, you know, a lot of different ways that they sell their product, which is very important for their staying power. So they've got the wholesale component, they've got the retail component, which they really want to focus more on when they come here. And I really see that as such a big part of the whole 13th Street feel, you know, that is changing. If people are coming in and they're trying new teas and new drinks and, you know, getting interested in something that's non-alcoholic, I mean, I think that's a great thing, you know, personally. It's, you know, and the focus on and the interest that they have in health and wellness in general, that really struck me. And I think that's very positive. And I think that's sort of a trend that we see. And there's a lot more interest in that these days, you know, all around the country. And, you know, for all these reasons, I think it's such a positive project, and it would be a great thing to be able to help them, because I really do think it does fit the you know, the basis for CRA, and that there is retail component, there is job creation, there are all these different ways that they're enhancing the community and the area that the CRA is looking to help. 13th Street, you know, it really needs it. You know, there's so many businesses that have come and gone, some of the older buildings. This is someone who's putting in a lot of time and energy and money, you know, into this project to make something that's an eyesore truly beautiful, you know, and then adding, you know, the job creation, the community involvement, you know, the outreach to the other businesses, you know, and small businesses in particular around the area, like We Take the Cake, Milk Money, Art Gallery when that opens, you know, and others that may come in, you know, too. So this can really get things moving in the right direction even further. That's the way I see it.
Thank you, Mo.
Yeah, and that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Troy?
Yeah.
Troy?
Nice to here, can we go over there?
Speak, and who you're from, where we know,
Okay,
but.
I'm Troy Liggett, I'm president of Middle River Terrace Neighborhood Association. This project's in Middle River Terrace in my neighborhood. I first want to thank you for this project. When I met you at the CCA meeting many months ago, and I'm like, you need to go talk to the CRA folks, because they might be able to help you with this project. I know you were already going with this project, and it was great. I will say, I was the one who stood up last time like, well, I'm really disappointed that this doesn't have retail. Like, I thought that's what it was. So I just want to make a point. I think it'll be a great addition to our neighborhood. It's a great improvement over the Best Buy. I want to look at one step a little bit deeper and compare it to the big picture and talk about one issue. You're requesting basically funding for three things. It's really two grants, but let me walk in. Requesting $125,000 for streetscape landscape. I think that fits into our mission. You know, we're looking to increase affordable housing, to improve the streetscape, to make it more friendly. I think that fits, that's a no-brainer for this project. The second is the business grant. I think if you could commit, and I've heard a lot of this, oh, there's gonna be walk-in, but I haven't heard the details. Like, is there a plan for retail? I don't know if when they write the grant, they can ask you to like, okay, what's your plan? Are you open 8 hours a day, 6 days a week? Is it gonna be a dedicated space? Like, those details are important. And I think to get the $225,000 part of this grant, I think we've heard from everybody, that needs to be in writing as a part of the plan. And the third part of it is, and I didn't notice this today till I read the packet. This request asks you to waive the maximum amount that can be provided in a grant. And it's asking to give him an extra $200,000 for this project. To the new folks particularly, this $550,000 is almost all of the money that the CRA gets in a year. I think we actually get like $600,000 a year for projects like this, so this is almost all of our money for this year. So if we wanted to do sidewalks in Lauderdale Manors, if we wanted to do anything and anywhere else, if we wanted to save money for anything else, I feel like this extra $200,000 needs to be qualified for some reason. And the one thing that kind of bothers me about this project is that you're going to do this project, it feels like to me. And now you're just like, oh, I can get these grants for it, let me get extra money. It's like, I feel like you came here, you decided to do this project, you come up with this plan, like what extra, like, is this project not gonna go through if you get that extra $200,000? Like, what are we buying with that extra $200,000? And maybe the board wants to approve the first two parts and not the next. I think it's important to know that. So I just wanted to attribute those comments and I hope that's helpful.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, thank you, Troy. Any other questions? Those with the comment?
Do you want to start answering that or should I?
I appreciate the thoughtfulness of everything that you had mentioned. And we are planning to move with the project. It might take longer, you know what I mean? The idea is if we can propel it and make it go faster and create that space, it's like we are limited on what we can do. And it's not like we have an endless amount of funds, and it might just, just be a longer road to get there. And that's also, okay.
I'll just make a comment, like if you could dedicate part of your space and to retail and it costs you the extra $200,000 to do something special and extra, maybe that would be.
Yeah, I'll answer. I want to answer, she knows her financials. So, and she knows that where we're limited and where we're coming in and asking for government money. We've not asked for government money in Los Angeles. We're not used to asking for government money, but we're like, wow, imagine what we can do if we were able to tie in with local support, with local government support. Imagine what more we could do. And this is where the sky's the limit, and we were able to come up with these beautiful designs, these beautiful ideas. So the external is not just plants. The external is also that seating area. So that's a big part of it. So that is that retail component, and the seating isn't blanket cafeteria style seating. It's beautiful cafe style seating all along the area. The retail component is an important part of our component. I think where we need alignment is just understanding that the retail for us is that winery concept where someone is coming in, they're able to buy that bottle of wine, they're tasting the wine, they're able to buy the slushies and buy these other sort of components. And yes, we'll have dedicated hours. People can come and they can experience our retail component. We want to open it up to the public. We haven't gotten anywhere else in multiple areas that was already built out for a fraction of the cost. I didn't want that. I wanted to be part of a neighborhood. I wanted people to experience our brand, and I wanted to be part of something that's much larger and give back to community as well.
All right, anything else? Appreciate it. Any other questions, posing the comments that we can discuss among in the board. Appreciate it. Fiona,
Yes,
Can I
so,
address some of Troy's questions?
what can you interest him to hear? Once we go into the board discussion.
No, he asked a question about the
Oh, okay,
PBIP funding
yeah.
limits.
That's right.
So correct, the maximum for the PBIP is 225,000. We've as a CRA, we've approved other project that waives, that we request that the city waives that amount and add more to the project. If it's I don't know what happened. If it's valuable as far as like the project when we evaluate it. Now, the PBIP applies for any renovation or improvements, enhancement of a current existing building along Northeast 13th, 4th, in the entire CRA really, but 13th Street, 4th Avenue, and Sunrise Boulevard are the focus areas where an application can get up to 90% of their improvement costs funded, with a maximum of 225. Now, this is a really expensive project. It's 1.9. The estimate is in here. And so the funding amount that they're asking for, even though it's 550,000, that's 28% of their overall construction budget. So in our program, we can fund up to 60% if they're along that street, and they can pick their own contractor. So that's what they're doing. They pick their own contractor. We're only funding 28% of their overall construction cost, and they're applying for the facade and the PBIP. Now, as far what Troy mentioned, that the CRA doesn't receive a lot of money every year. I believe it's around 800,000. I can't be sure, but we'll discuss that at the next meeting when we talk about the cleanup. But the only reason why we've got up to this point where we have a lot of funding, and I just want to remind everybody that the incentive programs only were approved in 2018, and since then, we've only approved 2 projects, and then every year that we don't use the funds, it goes back to the city. We ask the city to give us back that money because it's usually only the city TIFs are funding the central city area. And then once we get that money, we put it back into incentives. So we have funding in place for this request. And that's why we recommended asking for the waiver and for this amount. At the end of the year, the funds that we didn't use last year, we're gonna get back. So that's what I'm saying. We're gonna come back and discuss with you at a later date.
One of the things that we had another, Christopher.
I'm one of the new people on the board, so how many projects like this size have we provided support for in the past?
This is the first one that's for this amount. The last project we approved for Call of Africa for 404,000, but that was between 3 different programs. There was facade. Facade is any work on the exterior of the building within the property owner's property. Anything in the right of way, if you're doing any work on the right of way, it's the streetscape incentive. So that's what Call of Africa is doing. And then the PBIP is any work inside the building or outside the building affixed to the property.
And Mel, if I may ask you a question. Call of Africa is a retail space, is that correct?
We are renovating, there are 4 new retail bays front.
Full retail,
Yes.
retail space, people come in and out at $404,000.
Yeah, now we also have our offices in the back too.
You have your offices, but you have full retail, that's a gallery, that's galleries, that's offices, gonna have other retail space for other clients, which is
Yes.
going to enhance the neighborhood.
Yes, it will.
And I'm gonna, anyone else finished, wanna talk to Fiona?
Yeah, I was going over the exhibit E, the contractor's quote. But I don't see anything on the retail and the cost of the exterior. only the landscaping. So with the money that we're providing, would that be to pay for the retail and the outside,
Correct. Yes, yeah, the benefit of the warehouse is that there's nothing that needs to be done with the shop. So everything that we would be doing would be for the showroom, office, internal, and in the external. So there's nothing that was, nothing that would be needed for the warehouse itself. It's a shop.
Right? First, let's say, we're here to recommend, we can't approve. I want everyone to understand that. But I'm gonna go back to my concern that we've been at, that first thing, it's a great project. I love it. I think it'll be an enhancement. I think that what you're doing is gonna be fantastic. But I have to look at what we've done from a chair's perspective. I'm gonna say this is the way I feel about this. I have to look at what we've done and what we've given versus where we are. It may be 28%. My concern and hindrance is we gave $404,000 to Call of Africa. 100% retail except for offices in the back. It is 100% contributing to work, live, play, period. You know, and now we're asking to be waived for us to waive and give $146,000 more that has a small sector. And your project's beautiful, and I think it will help that corner, it'll enhance. But when I'm weighing out the thought, and I'm very much business savvy on this part, I gave 100%, $404,000. This board did. I was on it. We recommended, and it was approved for 100% retail, has retail shops, retail people, what we wanted, work, live, play. We're now being asked, and forget about, in my opinion, the amount of the budget. We're asked to be giving out a small percentage of retail, that the majority of it is going to be production. And it is what it is. And it has nothing to me to do with how great this project is. I have to look at the enhancement for the neighborhood and what it brings in. If we're gonna put this kind of money out, I'm not saying we shouldn't give money, but why are we giving $550,000? We gave 404 for full retail that 100% plays into work, live, play. That is my concern. And that is my concern as a voting person on this board and as someone who we've taken a mission for. That's amongst this board, but that's my concern.
I can help give feedback.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where the live part isn't, but.
For me, it's 100% retail. We give only 404,000. It's going to enhance the neighborhood, the community, the walkability, the livability, everything. You're enhancing it, but at the same time, you're actually becoming more warehouse than retail.
So the warehouse, fortunately, we don't need money for the warehouse.
If you need five, but you're going to need $400,000 is going to be needed for your small portion of retail.
We need showroom. We need area for tasting. We need area for seating. We need area for just doing construction. I mean, the tariffs have driven the costs insane. It's so incredibly expensive, but we're dealing with those tariffs. Maybe when they started their $450, $400 something thousand projects, I don't know what their costs were then, but I can tell you the cost has gone up and so it was 50%.
And costs go up, that's for sure. I mean,
What would the board get if we just gave you the facade improvement? What would you be doing with that money versus the rest of it, the balance?
The facade improvement.
Yeah, the 125.
Yeah, would allow the beautification of the outside of the building.
You know, I think for me in discussion,
Windows.
No,
You know,
we would actually
That
pull
includes
that.
the round. Yeah. I know.
Is it, it's a little bigger,
yeah, how, yours is bigger, right?
is yours bigger?
Which, the budget?
The Call to
Oh,
Africa
Africa's
space.
Well, our space is, I mean, the size is like 13.5.
And how much is yours?
13,000 or 13?
About the same, very
Same.
similar.
We were,
Very similar.
yeah, we were 13,000 and we removed some of the office space, so now it's 11,000 is a shell. So because they included a second floor as part of their square feet.
I have another question. Now, beyond being an art gallery, what else is retail?
Well, it's to be determined. It depends on who, you know, who the tenants end up being.
They don't know.
What they said, that's what they mentioned, is like to have retail retail.
But it could be a restaurant, it could be a small business, it could be, who knows? I mean.
Right,
we would like
retail.
to- It'd be great to get a restaurant, you know,
Retail.
we actually ended up putting a grease trap in just to try to attract a restaurant. Because, you know,
But
it's very hard to
it's
do
still
that later.
hypothetical.
But that street needs another restaurant, I mean, it really does.
But they're saying that they're gonna do the retail space on the front and they're utilizing the rest of the building, which is already designed for warehouse space, you know, I mean.
Yeah, I have to be honest, like with our project, you know, Kimber, yeah, we're creating, I think I projected 16 new jobs, you know, 8 full-time, eight or 12, you know, I think a mix of 10 and 10 full-time, 6 part-time, CJ, I remember at the time. But, you know, and everything can change. I mean, if things really get rolling, we end up hiring more people, hopefully that'll happen, then everything changes. Same with all the other businesses that may come in. And now that when we look at it, you know, we've got, you know, 20-foot ceilings, it's quite attractive, it's gonna spark a lot of interest. But what I was gonna say is, so, yeah, there's the retail component, but actually a good part of it was also the offices because we needed to relocate.
Right.
Our own operation, our own business operations toward the back, so actually a lot, you know, there was a portion of that, obviously, that's part of everything. And I will say this, you know, costs do continually rise. We started out at a certain point, there's extra. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, you never know what, I mean, there's so many things that come out of left field, you just can't believe it. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And you have to work your way through it. You know, but the way I know, and your points are very valid, Kimber, for sure. But I also feel like the cross connection between, you know, and I think that retail park could grow.
Right.
You know, for them, I think they would like to see that. And if they build out and they have a space for it, look, We Take the Cake has a retail space about as big as maybe 2 of these tables going in, you know? So it's very small. So that's an example where, you know, they do a lot of retail out of a small space. That could be the same thing here. You know, once people are tasting the teas, they could be in there buying the teas and maybe then that grows and becomes much
Okay.
larger.
Yeah, appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah.
So if there's no more,
Another comment, if it's okay.
yeah,
It sounds like you want someone to be part of the community. And you want someone investing in the community. I also want the support of you guys for the community. I can't do the salon, to my wife's point, like, yeah, we can do landscaping, but there's windows and other beautification and other things that are more retail centrally focused that we would take a second look at and really think about, if we don't get the funding from CRA, then the chances are, like, we don't have the money for it, so there's things that we're not gonna implement.
Okay.
So I'm asking for your help, we need your help. So if you want us to help really enhance this community, then let's partner together and make this happen.
okay, so, thank you. So, and there's no further discussion. Is there a motion to vote to recommend give the full 550,000, you know, which is what they've asked for?
I motion to give the full 550,000.
Have a second,
I second for discussion purposes.
okay? Any further discussion with that?
I only have one more
Okay.
question of city staff, Seja. Troy made some really good points about funding. Are there any projects currently in the pipeline that are requesting funding for this fiscal year?
Maybe if they submit. I know that Homes Inc. We are working with the city to give them a property in the central city area. I forgot the address, it's a long.
What does Homes,
They're not retail.
They're
what
not
does
retail.
Homes Inc. do?
But
It's like a nonprofit, isn't it?
it is, but we're giving, this is separate because we're working with the city on it. We're
Mhm.
giving them that property for the sole purpose of building affordable housing for seniors forever, for perpetuity. So that's why that property is going to them. And they may need gap funding, so don't have their numbers yet. We asked them to get bids, to submit more current bids. And that's later. When we receive this application, there is sufficient funding to cover it. And again, later, maybe December, January, we're gonna get the funds back from the city. And we'll come back and discuss with the advisory board what that amount is and how much is gonna go back to fill the PVIP, the facade, and the streetscape.
So only one grant application.
This is the only one that's gotten to this point.
Got it, understood, thank you, that was my question.
May I make one point in that regard, just real quick? So that might be the only other application, but from the total pool of money, you're about to hire a contractor who's going to do a streetscape plan for the whole district, for all of it, for sidewalks and trees and lights and everything. And so that, anything you want to do there is coming out of this same stream of money.
Let me correct you there. So incentives are separate buckets. You were on the board. So the incentive dollars is just for this program. We have an application, applicants will come in and apply. What he's talking about is the capital improvement. We have a different bucket for that. And I believe we have like 1.2 million, maybe a little bit more. And once we get that money back from the city, we're going to put some funds from the incentives that we didn't spend last year. We're gonna put it back in the incentive, so we'll discuss those numbers next year.
And
So none of this,
So they're two separate buckets.
of course, the funding for the solicitation for the capital improvements, master planning effort. I gave you an update that was at the procurement and their negotiating prices. So the selection committee have selected a firm. That's coming from operations. It's $200,000 for that contract. It's not in incentives. Incentive dollars is only for the programs. Yes, Troy.
I can't help myself because next month you're gonna meet and all this buckets of money is gonna go back into one pot. And you're gonna decide what to spend it on. So right now it's in separate buckets, but correct me if I'm wrong. And
No,
the
we have,
treasurer said this,
we have,
that she's always told us, put 800,000 here and put 1.2 here because at any time you can just switch them up.
you can move them around in the incentives umbrella.
That's not what she's told us.
I just wanna, let me just make a correction, because you said that if they spend this money here, we're not gonna have money for streetscapes. Am I correct?
No,
Is that
I'm
my
saying
misunderstanding?
from the total amount of money that you get, it's reducing the total amount by a significant amount for everything you wanna do in general.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm sorry, maybe we were confused on how
I took it as that way too. You're just saying it's taken from
Yeah.
all of your money.
Yeah.
I have asked Seisha for the exact amount. She doesn't know. And unless there's other questions, since there is discussion, I'm gonna give my last discussion. I love the project. I'll say it again. I'm for money. I, as an individual, don't like waiving the maximum amount for something that is not 100%. I say 100% in our mold. I know you think it is, but it isn't. It isn't a mail project. It isn't a restaurant. It isn't other things. That's my rub on this whole amount that we're asking. And plus $550,000 from what I remember from our treasurer, that's a lot of money for one project right now. And I'm just telling everyone from the financial side, because I sit on finances, it's not pretty out there. The housing market's not pretty out there. The economic outlook is not pretty out there. And I think that we're gonna get a lot more people coming and wanting economic help from us and these type things in the future. I just went to, had another board today and I had to look at them and go, guys, from a naysayer part, you need to be a little more conservative. And I'm just gonna say, this is not the time to say, I wanna waive everything, in my opinion. I'm only one person. We all know the market's not good. We know it's not great. We know everyone needs help. But to put everything in one bucket right now, and that's basically what we're doing. We're giving more than I think we've ever gave. And we're asked to waive something. I'm not against helping, but you vote, just saying, in my opinion, in the end, I think that we should not be giving $550,000.
Can I share before you go?
What I should, let me,
I had a question.
Go ahead.
If, I guess to their accounting team, since this money is specifically for the retail portion of the property and business, if we were not able to provide the full 425 for the property and business, and we gave only the 225,000, would you still be able to adequately, I mean, I know you said it may take longer, but would you be able to still anticipate the retail portion? Because the 225,000
No, honestly.
is like, because
It would be very, very challenging for us. It would be very, very challenging for us.
because you said specifically this money was for the retail.
It's not for warehouse. It's for, this specific money is for the front, and it's for office, and it's for the showroom. It's for the showroom, not the warehouse. So what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna basically say that it's just, we're gonna look at the budget and we'll have to make, the best decisions for us moving forward and what we can implement and what makes the most sense. Warehouse is the least expensive because it doesn't require anything and it's already there. So it's like you bring in the racks.
all right,
It's really.
yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Is there any other comments?
I just want to spit out a thought that I think what they're doing is great. I think we're basing a lot of this 100% on the cake place that doesn't have a retail area. They don't have, you don't have leases yet on your retail spaces. So I mean, all of that is hypothetical. We have a family owned and operated company that is here. They're gonna be utilizing the building. I think we should be a part of whatever we can do to help them succeed. And, they're already compromising with us coming back, and they've modified this a little bit and explained the retail portion of what they're going to do. I think they've said they're gonna take sidewalk traffic. I don't see why we shouldn't give them the full amount.
Thanks so much, Bobby. Thank you. I feel like you get it when you're listening. Thank you.
Do we have to vote on just all of it, or can we parcel it?
Well, we've got a motion for all of it. Do we get a second? I don't think we ever got a second. Do we have a second?
Yes, we have a second. Can I share something before you keep going?
Yes.
I just want to talk about the application and it on itself. So this application and the incentives is meant to incentivize the businesses along the streets. Now, this is a brand new business, but it's not brand new in the sense that it's not experienced. It's coming into the area and we want to show support, right? I'm not saying I'm providing you or guiding you to support them, but I want to point to the application and just remind you that we don't make these applications a requirement for retail to come in. It'll be nice to have retail because we want to encourage that kind of walkability in the area. It's also an application that's eligible for existing businesses. So there's a lot of offices along Northeast 13th Street. Should they need renovations, interior renovations, facade, they still qualify. I don't think we would come here and you deny them because they're not retail if they're an existing business along Northeast 13th Street. They are making substantial changes to the property. We are only providing 28% of the funding, and he has a big skin in the game. That's 100% minus 28. How much is he putting in? The majority of it. So we always want, as a CRA, we never pay for anything 100%. That's why we have these percentages down. We want the property owner to have a stake in it. So it's not like we're funding 90% of the project. It's only 20. He's putting a majority of the investment in it because it's his property.
He already owns the property, so yeah.
I do have one quick question. So if this is voted yes, then it stays as it's presented to us? Like
Well,
it's,
This is his plan.
Just
He's
wanna
already
know
done
that.
the design.
yeah, so it doesn't change from this. like hypothetically, and I'm not trying to question them at all, but so like if we gave the money, it can't just all be warehouse then, right? Like they can't change what they applied for?
No, because we are basing it on their designs and they got permits and
So
everything.
this is like our guarantee that this is loosely what we're gonna get.
And that's what we want.
Yeah,
We wanna do that. We want the full experience. We want the retail. It's not like we don't.
sure.
We don't wanna like take it and then, oh, no, we just don't want all warehouse.
Yeah, since it's a lot of money, I just wanna make sure that the
For
residents.
example, should they, if they change, then only did interior renovations, obviously they have to submit the invoices. And if there's nothing in there that's worked on the outside, because we have a project manager that goes out and checks against everything in the invoices, then they don't get the funding for facade. You see what I mean? So,
There's a check,
Yeah,
there's checks and
yeah.
balances on it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
honestly, you have to pay for it first. Right. And get reimbursed.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, my only comment, I'll say it again. We're at the maximized wave. We're in a situation we don't even know how much we have. That bothers me. And we're talking about, we're going to get it reallocated. We don't know how many grants we have. We don't have Homes Inc. That's my concern. I'm not for not helping, but I'm for, and I'll call a vote. Have a concern that we're gonna get $550,000. And that's a large chunk of our budget if we look at that. That's my concern. And we're asked to waive, and I understand it's not a big deal, our maximum, and that's another concern of mine, especially where we're at right now and not knowing what's gonna happen. So with that said, I'll call, Karen, we call the vote.
Yes. The motion is for approval. Mr. Tinoco,
Yes.
Ms. Zamora,
I'm gonna say one more thing before I vote. I understand the whole retail discussion perfectly. I really appreciate the outside seating because it activates pedestrians and it activates the area. So that I highly agree on. I'm still nervous about the trucks. I feel like the bucket for capital improvements for our neighborhoods, the improvements that we need, is not being touched. So with that, it's a yes.
okay. Alrighty, Mr. Casey,
No.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
No.
Mr. Maybe,
yes,
Mr. Stan.
No.
So we have, I'm sorry, and Chair White.
No.
Okay. So that's 4 yeses and 4 noes.
Tie. So the motion fails due to a tie?
It does.
Yes.
Can I put a notion to give less amount?
You can.
Okay, because I really do like this project and I really do that you guys made an effort to add on the retail function that we required from our last meeting. My motion would be 325,000 for the property and business improvement. And then 125,000 for the commercial facade, making it 450,000 in total. To incorporate that, we are we do want to encourage businesses to come into our community, and we do want businesses to hear us when we say it's very, very important to us for the live part of the community and the retail part of the community. And for that, I feel like we should provide them a little bit more than the 225, just so that we can incorporate and encourage other businesses to continue and for them to also incorporate the retail, because we really do not want the business to go there and be a warehouse. And I feel that it'll be a good idea to at least give them 400,000 in total. The breakdown would be the 325,000 for the property and the retail inside. And then the original 125,000 for the outside for the seating area and to enhance the already the budget they already had was 28,000 on their original budget. So I think that 125 is very important to add to that to help out with the outside. So that is my notion.
Well, that's It's more of a very complicated statement. I think for the purposes of the record, it might be best to have a more concise, focused statement. That's my recommendation to you guys.
So,
So give me a second, please, because we need to, give me a second. Okay, so the motion, explanations aside, I believe, Chair.
Yes,
Okay,
may I try to go back and you tell me if this is your
Yeah,
motion?
so, yeah,
It's for $325,000 for business, $125,000 for facade, for a total of $450,000.
yes.
The motion. All right, can I have a second for discussion purposes?
I'll second.
Any discussions?
So last month, we discussed for like more than an hour, this is almost 2 hours now, so I think we've given this a lot of time and a lot of talk. I don't see in a lot of differences in the presentation this month than what we had last month. The answers that we got pretty much the same. Specifically the answer that a lesser amount doesn't really get this project off the ground, that they're not happy with us giving them less. So therefore, I don't think that we are using the money properly. We try to chunk this down and break this down. And
Okay.
yeah, that's.
That was gonna be my question is, do you feel like the 450 is good or is 550, what you need?
And,
Cause we're missing other board members
Yeah.
to bring it back at 550.
We also need that exemption still for the 450, the two
yeah, we have to have,
going above.
What is without the exemption?
it's 300 without, we gotta vote up or down. Right? We're gonna do a second.
We'll
It's 350,
ask
it's
for the waiver
350,000.
if it's 325, cause the maximum is
Right,
225.
your maximum is $225,000 for your business grant, $125,000 for your facade. So it's $350,000 for your maximum. Again, I'm gonna go back and say, my concern for me is going anywhere over a waiver.
I really need.
But the motion on the table is
So
at
that's the motion.
450.
But I'm just giving my motions 450. That's my concern. If there's nothing else, we'll bring it for a vote again. Okay,
Let's take a vote.
so I said,
Take a vote.
just say take a vote.
450.
Karen?
yes, okay. Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Tinoco,
Yes.
Mr. Casey,
No.
Ms. Jones, no. Mr. Maybe,
Yes.
Mr. Tinoco, did I get you already?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Stan?
No.
No? Okay. Ms. Zamora
Yes.
and Chair White.
No.
Four again?
Oh, I'm sorry to say it's 4-4.
Motion's dead. Does anyone like to make a
Yeah, you
motion?
could put a motion for the 225 and the 125
Okay, do I have a second?
without the waiving of it.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Any other discussion?
I feel like we're starting to nibble, like this project is gonna look like we're nibbling away at their budget architecturally and what they plan on doing. So when it doesn't look its finest, we can look at the money that we've nibbled away right now.
And I do agree, and I understand that, but for me, on my side, I agree with Bobby on that respect, and I agree with what you're trying to do. But on the other side, I have to look at what could be coming this year for me.
Mr. Chair, if they nibble away at things, can you not nibble away at the outdoor seating that is integral to activating the pedestrian realm?
I
Thank
agree
you.
with that.
Do your best.
So call a vote, Karen?
I need clarification. So the motion was by Casey, seconded by
Christie?
Jones. I'm sorry, I missed that. Okay. So just a second. Okay, Mr. Casey, yes. Ms. Jones,
Yes. Sorry.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Maybe,
Yes.
Mr. Stan,
Yes.
Mr. Tinoco,
Yes.
Ms. Zamora,
Yes.
and Chair White.
Yes,
Okay, so unanimous.
that's okay.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very much.
All right.
It's fascinating.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time and
Thank
for
you.
listening to us, and you're so interesting, like, you know,
Best of luck to you.
thank you so much.
Second
Appreciate
five-
it.
I live down the street, so.
Let's take a.
Nice to come.
Tea drinker.
Visit
Yeah.
all the
Let's take a
areas.
five-
I'm glad I did something non-alcoholic.
Let's get started again. I think 40 now.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you so much, everyone.
thank you.
Okay, good night.
All right, Seija, I bet you're gonna be speed demon, right? No.
What's on the?
The next agenda is Central City Zoning Senate Bill.
Oh, right.
SB 180.
I hope you guys read it because
Yes, I've read it.
but I am here to announce that on November 19th, we're having that discussion of planning and zoning board.
We're first.
And we're first on the agenda, so please, if you showed up last time, come again.
Do I have to read the letter again?
No.
I will be there. I get to read it again.
You know, like my
1:30.
first speech.
You guys on.
That's okay. See, I get the early part answers. I put that off on you.
Yeah, yeah. What was that?
Bobby, I stayed up and watched you, don't worry. Yeah.
I'm the guy.
No, that was.
Your speech, and I saw his.
No rain forecast.
I stayed up and watched you.
That
guys.
was scary.
But it was like 9:30. Oh my God. I think Chris said something.
It was because of the other line.
There wasn't.
Yeah, that one, and you know, people were so mad.
Did you see it was called up
There's not another.
by yesterday's?
Let's look out and see.
Yeah, I thought, no. That was scary.
That one there.
I didn't see a flash though, so you would especially as close as it was. Looking like a.
Okay.
And then you had a
51,
for
CJ.
51? Okay, page 51, please.
Thank you.
Senate Bill 180. Yeah, there it is.
So it's just a summary of what happened. And this letter was put together by the planning department and also vetted by legal. And then the three options that will be discussed, they discussed it to an extent, and then they wanted to further discuss it at the next meeting. So I think at the next meeting, it would be better explained. The options will be presented again, and then the public will then have ample opportunity to ask questions and get their questions answered, because the last time we went on, it was around 10 PM and a lot of people had already left. So it wasn't a fair, thorough discussion. And also this was something that was new that we learned about last minute from the attorney's office.
They brought up good points though. And in the sense of just waiting it out until the 2027
So I
deadline.
have a point to make with that. I have some friends that I've discussed Senate Bill 180 with, and there's a provision that even though it's set to expire in 2027, should a hurricane hit every year, the bill keeps going.
Right.
Oh.
And this bill is retroactive to 2024. So even though it passed at the very last day or week of the legislative session, it affects any legislation back to 2024.
Yeah.
And it theoretically can go on year after year, even though it has this expiration date.
And it's not just a hurricane that you have to understand, it's flooding, it's not just hurricanes, any natural disaster that we have, it'll go and go and go. So waiting out is probably not the best, but we'll see. I mean, I know I've been in touch with.
To me, it seemed like that was the direction the board was gonna go in.
Well, there wasn't a lot of discussion. It was basically the vice chair and the interim city attorney discussing the perilous nature of perhaps passing a rezoning that
Burdensome.
can be interpreted as restrictive and burdensome, but that's up to a judge or up to whoever the powers that be. The thing is interesting is that comprehensive plan amendments have to go to state review by law. Rezonings do not and have not. So is the city scared that someone will sue or basically snitch on the city of Fort Lauderdale and say, I don't like this rezoning? Because how would the state enforce something that the city passes or deem it null and void when it's the city of Fort Lauderdale governing itself?
And I agree, and communicate with the commissioner, my concern of the wait out Has anyone seen Overtown in Miami?
Oh, yes.
That's your wait out. 50 stories, live local act. You know, we haven't done it over there, but that's it. There's the other options that we discussed, and it's gonna be discussed, is opt in. Or the option is also we could zone what would not be, that we're going up and we're not going down. So there are more than one option to wait it out. So, you know, I think I'm curious what they're gonna say, because I've kind of researched this. I've talked to a couple of senators' offices in the state. You know, they're very much for the for the landowner. I can tell you that right now. And so there's more options than wait it out. I mean, I hope they don't do that, but that's their job. So we'll find out, but there's gonna be a lot of options that's gonna be discussed, but there are more than one option. There's, to me, more valuable options than wait it out. That people.
You make a really good point about live local, because within a 1 mile radius of where I live, the tallest building, and I have to go 1.4 miles out, not even a 1 mile radius, because 1 mile puts us at Searstown. It's not built yet, so I don't know if that live local would govern that height. But at 1.4 miles away from where I live, the tallest building is East Las Olas. So theoretically, a 300-foot tall building could be built through live local. And that to me is, I think, without public hearing, a little bit more perilous than anything, in my opinion.
Just wanted to add to live local. I went through the text a while back, and you can adopt height, but not everything from within a mile radius. I think there was one more thing I can't remember, but the step backs remain. So the CB has step backs. They basically could not go higher than not even 150 with the step backs. They're not even maybe.
I think about 100 on my key, where we're at on 13th in those areas, but there's other areas that we're on a thing. And the other area is to just consider, when I talk to them, is to just, like I said, go up where we can go up, and the rest kind of not do anything for right now. That was an option. I think you and I talked about that too. So that's something that.
What do you mean, say that again?
Because there's areas that we're on our zoning that we're going up, we're rezoning improvement, not to take away people's rights. That's.
Meaning passing a rezoning that allows them higher than they would normally have?
Well, no, but with certain areas of our zoning plan, we're moving up.
Right. And that would then pass there.
That's an option.
Any kind of review.
I don't know if that's an option, but that would be an option to be able to, let's leave alone what we got here and leave alone 13th and 4th Avenue, forget it. But so we're not stifling, this would be my recommendation, so we're not stifling, let's move with the zoning plan that we know that we can start improving with, that's gonna go up, and leave the rest alone, and so it doesn't stifle right now. That would be my suggestion to doing nothing. We worked very hard.
At the PZB meeting, member Donaldson asked a question. He's like, well, why hasn't anybody built anything there right now? What if we don't do anything? And I would hope that planning staff could perhaps describe why things haven't been done. With the current zoning, you don't have the mixed use workforce housing capability. You don't have those. So we're gonna be real, developers are in it to make money. So they have to have a break point where they are making their money, but we also need workforce housing for people who need housing, market rate housing too, to have the mixed income in the neighborhoods that can sustain the retails.
Right.
So when that question comes up, because right now, theoretically, 150 feet can be built of a warehouse.
Right.
Or 150 feet could be built along Sunrise of a storage facility. Is that really the best use of Sunrise?
Have two storage facilities already in the neighborhoods that.
I would prefer to see 150 feet along Sunrise of first floor activated retail with lots of restaurants or whatever that's activating that space. Your workforce housing, your market rate housing, that's what can be built with this rezoning. There is immense value with that. And I hope someone, either from city staff or from the public, can say that.
Just for the sake of the meeting, this part of it, is this just a discussion about this? Are we just discussing this, or is this that we're not gonna be doing any motions right now or anything like that?
So you're aware, so when this was finalized and the city attorney said, send it out
Okay,
through how you normally communicate with the community, I use Central City rezoning email, so if you saw it, please confirm, thank you.
so we could go into
A lot.
a whole thing about this, and I just didn't wanna
And
get
I,
into
it's
that.
best reserved for the planning and zoning board, so you're interactive with them and they, they're asking the right questions. They can answer, city attorney's gonna be there, Dwayne Spence is the one that vetted the rezoning proposal. And he's also the land use attorney for planning and zoning board, so he'll be able to help kind of guide the discussion.
And just that when we were at that meeting too, I noticed something like you were able to get up and speak, which,
For another item.
yeah, for another item. So I mean, don't feel that restriction. I don't know. At first, I kind of would have felt that restriction, but it was good to see that we were all able to be in the room.
But you can speak on something else, yeah.
It was, what item was it? Holy Cross.
Yeah.
Because they're getting prime real estate,
Yeah.
they're helping the area by,
Yeah.
instead of something that's completely vacant and could sit there and look at the design of the Christmas palace. What do you see when you're driving on Sunrise? Cars. You just see a whole bunch of cars. They're bringing their facade up closer to the street, having more landscaping. So let's activate Sunrise. And I feel like there has to be discussion about Sunrise too, because I can tell that a lot of people just don't stay there to shop
Right. So
or to visit. And I live 2 blocks away.
one thing I want to do, and I'll ask Seizure, but my thought on this is since this ordinance is affecting planning and zoning plan that we as a board have put in place, I want to make sure that we can individually get up and talk. I'm just not sure we can. I do not think we can. I do not think we can individually talk because this, at some point, could very much come back to this table. My opinion, P and Z probably will get kicked back, and if nothing happens, so
You
I,
can write your comments, a lot of people write their.
you can write your comments.
Planning and zoning board, for Lauderdale.gov. What the liaison does, Ella Parker, she sends that communication directly to the advisory board. How I communicate with you, blind carbon copy, all she does is forward it to the board. So that's one way for you, if you don't want, you're unsure about the rules, you don't want to speak, you can send your written comments in advance.
What I
So
will
this
do,
isn't a quasi judicial matter. This is a legislative
Yeah.
matter.
but it affects us. In any direct way, it's affecting this board.
What I would be
decisions.
disheartened to see is this is on its own merits. Take out SB 180 out of the equation. There are smart lawyers that are figuring out how to
Right.
make sure that cities still have their home rule and can govern themselves and do rezonings. On the merits of the rezoning itself, people are still keeping their property rights. Good sound planning and growth management is taking place. And there's activation and enticement of investment opportunities so that we don't have to compete with other CRAs for investment opportunities.
Right. So I will just email myself, or I will email the attorney and get Dwayne and Chris and get their opinion on it, and Caesar can put it out to everyone. And maybe just best all we can do is email about that, but I want to make sure what we can and can't do. And I still question about an email.
I thought, wasn't Dwayne was here and he commented about whether or not you guys can attend. You can attend if
You
you
can attend, but even to me, email correspondence is making an opinion of something that come back before the board.
You don't have
That's my
to,
opinion.
you don't have to comment. Okay, so you all live in the area or close to the area, make comments as a.
Resident.
Exact.
Mhm. And that was what you did, was you got up and said, I'm making a comment as a resident.
But that project wasn't in the CRA,
No,
so it never comes.
Yeah.
not putting you
It
on the
was in
spot.
another
No, not putting you on the spot. We ran into this when there was all the hoopla with Troy. It's no different. He was speaking as a citizen. To me, and I'll get a clarification, to me, that's no different. I mean, that's what I heard. It was a citizen and he did his citizenship position. To me, it's no different. We're sitting there, we can speak as citizens. I don't think so.
So the thing is, if you're on the same board and you're at planning and zoning, you're not addressing each other for an item that might come to you. You're making a comment to the planning and zoning board, and you're not addressing Bobby as a private citizen. You're sharing your comments as a resident in Central City. So this is.
I
But also as
Use your own
there was the
judgment.
attorneys were there, I mean.
You
should use your own judgment, but I'm gonna go back to.
He's welcome to ask the
What we were
attorney.
told is that no matter if something is going before you, and no matter if you're talking to Joe on the street and your opinion is X, Y, Z, that your opinion is not to be given because it could be something that could be construed that you're gonna bring it back in and vote on. That was the exact words that we got in this meeting. Whether we agreed to it or not, I was a part of all of it. And it was wrong, right, it doesn't matter. I think that we need to ask the attorney, and whatever the attorney says, I think we need to do. I've been in this position before, and I don't want to be in it.
So given
Just giving
everything,
you some advice that I've already said here.
given the three scenarios that the city has presented with SB 180, I'm in full favor of the rezoning with the opt-in option. Because Sunrise Boulevard needs a lot of TLC from Home Depot to Northwest 14th.
Yeah, so we can, I'll get the clarification tomorrow from.
I live in Lake Ridge and I'm part of CRA as well. My concern with the SB 180 and the mixed use zoning is the different proposals that we've received in the association meetings. We've had one on Sunrise that they didn't have any retail at all, it was just a building. And they got approval, but they ran out of funding, so they didn't go through with it. But then the ones on Federal, they're approved, they didn't need our approval, they just came to the meeting. So my concern is, would this SB 180 be able to restrict, or would it be able to clarify what type of buildings they're gonna be allowed to build? or
Basically, the
businesses?
SB 180, from my understanding, and I don't know who else was there, but the SB 180, whatever's there, they can do with what they want as long as it meets the setbacks and the other requirements, because it's not restricting them. It's basically saying, we're not taking their rights away, they can do whatever they want to, as long as it's within the zoning and the codes, and we can't tell them they can't do it. That's basically what SB 180 is saying.
Initiated because it's basically to help homeowners who are affected by hurricanes have expeditious permitting in the system so that they can rebuild their homes after a catastrophe. It affects homeowners within a 100-mile radius of a devastating hurricane. So that was the initial intent of the senator who proffered this bill. Then towards the very end, there were some amendments made, passed, signed by the governor, and here we are, where now attorneys are debating on what the definition of and what basically is a restriction on a property owner, which is why municipalities like Fort Lauderdale are now suing with 23 other municipalities because of other greater issues. But the intent was one thing and then it became something else, and here we are.
Yep.
I think you mentioned earlier, there's a part of our rezoning area that is not restricting, it's actually improving.
Right.
So if we kind of cut and
I would, if we got it,
boundaries,
I'd rather do that than do nothing.
Hey.
can we make a recommendation to do that?
I think for us, the CR side, I don't see any reason that we can't do that. I think that if they're, rather than go down to say, let's just do nothing for a year, let's move forward with what we have of moving back, and then until table is
I
going
think
down.
the next meeting is the planning and zoning board, so these are really good questions, but they should be, because that's the process, that's
And
where
that's a
we're at.
thought, that's a very good thought
Yeah.
that you just proffered too.
So bring it up so they can hash it out, because your recommendation as a body has been made, and that's what the proposal is based on. So they're already aware what the proposal is. Now, the entire discussion is gonna be what kind of decision can we make because of the bill? The bill affects the kind of decision they're gonna make going forward.
Is there a is there a consensus if they're there to, and they're going toward just putting the lid on it and putting the dumpster for a
Cause your
year?
proposal is, we've got 3 different districts.
Districts, right.
There's different heights, different rules, different uses.
So what we'd like to say is,
That's the proposal.
and I can get up there and say, if it's okay with your chair, is, you know, in the worst, you know, if we would like to see it continue the areas that we're improving and not that we're restricting. We would like to continue that. And I would like that would be coming from us.
You're saying you're gonna go speak as chair? I don't know.
You know, if they want me to be allowed to.
Maybe we can agree on that
That's what
now,
I'm saying, if they would allow me, that's what I just said.
and then you can present as a
That's what
state.
I'm saying.
If you can add like a side note of, encouraging the properties that are incorporating not just the buildings, but also the retail aspect, that would be important, especially for the neighborhoods. Cause everyone's like, build all the tall ones on Sunrise Boulevard, but we need the mixed use ones on Sunrise as well, because it's still a community, people still walk through there.
Yeah,
And to
that's
build the tallest building
But that's
there
part
is
of
gonna
our
be-
zoning.
That is the proposal, it's for
But
mixed use.
that's gonna be important as well.
Currently, the current zoning for that we're trying to propose to change are all commercial. So mixed use allows for that flexibility.
Yeah, cause I do notice that they did a lot of mixed use on the new developments on Federal, but none of the ones on Sunrise are mixed use, all of them are just.
It's because it's commercial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You want?
Yeah, if you want something, go ahead.
I'll just make a comment. We had a neighborhood meeting last week. We invited Dwayne, we invited Carlin. They went through all these 3 concepts. There was a lot of talk on, and we just to try to wrap our minds around what you mentioned earlier, what you just said about we're doing 3 rezoning districts. 2 of them are obviously more restrictive, and the one that does Sunrise just seems like it's not restrictive.
Right.
Like, it would be easy to move ahead with that one. And wait a year and a half on the other 2, it's because it's obviously restrictive, but this board, on the 3 plans, you passed the motion to make a recommendation to the planning and zoning board on what you wanted. You can now make a recommendation that instead of waiting on the whole thing, we recommend that you move forward with that part. And
wait the outcome of the other.
wait the outcome or the other.
And
Good idea.
in theory, it sounds excellent.
Theory.
And I'll tell you why, and I love your idea and I love what you're saying. But the reason why there's a lawsuit, a multi-city county lawsuit, is because what is restricted? Right now, 150 feet along Sunrise. With the proposed rezoning, still 150 feet, but the caveat is that they can build that to 120 feet. And then if they want that extra 30 feet, they have to go before the board for a conditional use approval. That conditional use,
Still restricted.
I think it's
because they're
105, right?
restricted.
You're talking about,
Or I'm sorry, 105 there.
it's 105 by right.
Anyone can argue with a good attorney, that's restrictive, I don't like it. So that's why the opt-in option is, this is our rezoning, and if you want to opt in into this studied and planned out with 50+ public hearings that have been had, go ahead and opt in until everything is sorted out in the courts with regards to home rule, blah, 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 blah.
I'll note that one thing that Dwayne brought up at our meeting, that was a big deal. He was like, but for the opt-in, that turns into spot zoning. He's like, I don't know, we can do spot zoning, because if you do optional one and you go to another, then you rezone that property and in between, he's like.
You look like Houston.
I'm sorry, what was that, what was that?
You're gonna look like Houston. You're gonna look like Houston, that's what Houston did. And you got a trailer park over here, and you got a high rise over here, and then you seriously, and you got a bar here, and or go to Charlotte, where I'm from, Charlotte, North Carolina. You have downtown where you got a big nice house, and then you turn around and you got the bar and you got.
And I think as a board, the CRAB, you guys don't need to make another recommendation, because your recommendation was part of the process to gather
Right.
input, to really exhaust the conversation and different options. This is because as a result of the SB 180.
Right, and that's what.
So the conversation is a continuation because they deferred it to.
That's a good idea,
November.
continuation, I like that.
So, we're here, nobody's here, only Troy. We're not gonna make another recommendation to serve it.
Announcement, it's a public meeting, you can.
Yeah, no, it's
You
meant,
should also see.
it's more controlled, right?
Actually, they're gonna.
It's a
go.
public
Yes.
meeting and you're welcome to attend, and that's what I'm saying, if you have your thoughts and you're concerned about maybe the sunshine, and I will say that last time, when I know that some of you are attending, I let Ella know, and they have that note on their agenda that, other board members might be here, so you're just familiar. But again, in writing, at least it's in writing, they get it in advance, they'll be able to review your comments, and they can ask questions to you individually.
So that would be great if you get that clarification, Mr. Chair, because I did speak with the interim city attorney at the PZB, because some of the things that I was hearing, I would have loved to clarify from my personal knowledge, but I didn't.
Right, I'll get that, I'll send that out tomorrow. Okay? All right. It's always something. Old business, which this will go under old business seizure, we can go under since we talked about the, we can update everyone on the terms, extension.
I don't know anything about that, because I didn't attend the meeting last.
Oh, you didn't return to it last night?
I didn't attend the.
You're a citizen, but would you attended it, I got it.
Oh,
Last night,
good.
and it passed 5-0.
Would you get?
What were the meat of the?
There was a,
Excuse me, just for the record, what is the topic? I'm not following.
Next, board term extensions.
Okay, and you,
This would be like under miscellaneous, so
yeah, because that's not under,
it's not,
yeah.
It'd be under new business, right?
it's under, no, it's old business.
Old business.
Typically, this is where I give you a status update, but I'm sure you all read the 1 to 8, or
Yeah.
these are always standard, there's really no big development, so we can move on to miscellaneous if you all agree, and then Troy can share what was discussed at last night's commission meeting, is that okay?
Excellent, thank you. I needed context.
Yeah.
Perfect. Go ahead, Troy.
um,
This is about the term limits, right?
last evening, the city commission considered an ordinance amendment to extend the allowable terms that you all can serve on this board from a total of 3 years to 6 years. Right now, you can be appointed to 3 one-year terms. They changed it so you can be appointed to 2 3-year terms for a total of 6 years instead of just 3. The reasoning behind it is to add more continuity, because about the time, and from my experience on this, about 3 years and you figure out what's going on and then you're off.
Right. So instead of appointing you to every year, you will serve 3 years for 2 terms for a total of 6 years.
Well, but I don't, I gotta get clarification, I don't know if Troy got, I don't think that's retroactive.
No.
I think what it is that if you've got 2 years in, say next year, I've got my second year, you can serve a total of 6 years, but you can't serve, it's not start all over again. Is that correct, Troy?
6 total.
6 total. So like, I just got reappointed, so next year I can get appointed to a 3-year term again, and there would be 1 year left if they wanted to appoint me to a 1-year term to finish the 6th. Or whoever, like you, which you decide not to, you would have been reappointed to a 3-year term.
Would I be the same 3 years, from a 1 year to 3 year?
Whenever your term runs out, everybody,
Okay.
that's everyone who have the opportunity to be 3 more years. So yes.
No, we need representation.
Yeah, can we ask questions about the?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
please.
See, it says light poles are to arrive 11:14, does that mean install, does that mean just go up in the warehouse?
No, yes.
Yes.
They locate them?
Like, we don't have them.
We don't have it yet.
Of course not.
They haven't
The
got
question
tracking
was,
number?
when are they arriving?
Procurement.
That's the date, so I'm going to be calling.
So they have a tracking number now.
A barcode.
Or if I-
They don't mean nothing. That's Thomas.
I'm gonna ask for pictures. Can we move on to new business?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Next month, I'm gonna talk to Vanessa to be able to at least present the numbers so we have an idea. Okay, there's this year's budget, there's last year's money, how much was left over? Mind you, we only had one application last year and I believe we had like 900,000 or maybe a little bit more in incentives. I can't be sure of the exact number. But Call of Africa was approved for the 400 and some change. So that came out of that budget and whatever was left is coming back. So we're gonna bring back that for discussion because part of it is also, we have to talk about Central City and the Northwest CRA rent. And so each of the areas split the rent and the current location right now with the conference room that we've met in. We only have that space for the next 6 months.
Here.
Our CRA.
Okay.
So
What are they doing with that?
So the plans are to build out a space out of the Adderley building. There's like a 4,000 square foot shell that we're trying to build out into like QBs and whatever for the staff of 9 or 10.
What are they doing with the building you're in now?
High rise.
I have no idea.
Like, cute little building, I mean, that's a great little modern building.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that and how much Central City, we'll ask for your support for the
Move.
funding, cause
Okay.
Vanessa's gonna do the CAM to ask for that money back and where it's going.
If you know, you can give us an update on the people who had applied for the funding and they were stuck on the in progress that you
The animal
had.
hospital?
Oh, no, they haven't, no.
So would everyone have to start reapplying for those? It was what we had, it was like, I think like my first and second meeting, we had a few people that was still in progress.
Yeah, number 2, there's Prospect out for revision, the Homes Inc. that I.
You mean residential or you?
Yes.
Residential. Oh, you mean residential?
Yes.
They'll have to reapply now, right?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, okay, you're talking about the.
The residential, the yard.
Yeah, no, it's-
Yeah, the one that we had before.
Yeah,
Sure.
the facade program, I'm still working on these 2, so I'm working on the actual memo, and once it's ready, it's gonna go on whatever meeting I can get into for city commission approval. So the program right now is paused, I only have one application that wanted to absolutely finish the landscaping under the $5,000 program, and everybody else will just have to reapply for the new one.
Good luck.
It's approved for the 10,000.
And when would we know about this, the one that they had came and presented to us about the security? Improving the security?
That's the same one, so number 3 and number 4 is the same one that I'm working on. And once I have a commission date, I will email you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any other updates or thoughts on new business? Any suggestions, anything from the commission? All right, approve of minutes. Everyone review them. Any
So
motion to
for
approve?
the minutes on page 4, it's more along the lines of a scrivener's error. The first line, Ms. Johnson's name is missing an N. And I, based on the minutes, I misspoke. I said, I would like some resurfacing from Andrews to 16th. I meant to say from Sunrise to 16th. If the board would be so inclined as to make sure that I'm corrected in the record and also the.
So that was taken from the audio
Mhm.
and it is not possible to correct.
Okay, so I'm just putting it out there that I
Statements.
misspoke when I said resurfacing. The Northwest 7th Avenue would have been from Sunrise to 16th. That's something that I would ideally like to see for that part of our neighborhood. I understand it cannot be corrected because that's what I said and I was wrong, but I'm saying it now.
Yeah, she's correcting it, but it can be on the current minutes.
Current minutes, right?
Right, so can you please clarify how, once again, how you would like it
Yes, so
treated?
at last month's meeting, Mr. Casey spoke about perhaps discussing some improvements in our neighborhoods. And that spurred on that Northwest Seventh Avenue would benefit from some resurfacing from Sunrise Avenue to about Northwest 16th Street.
Right, it's just a correction, so Andrews is on the other side, 16th, if you guys are familiar with the neighborhood, so it makes sense because Seventh Avenue runs north-south, Sunrise is east-west, and so
And
is
you mean
Northwest.
Sunrise Boulevard? You said Avenue.
So instead of Andrews Avenue, it should be Sunrise Boulevard.
Right, but that's why I'm clarifying, because she said Avenue. Okay.
So I have a motion to approve the minutes,
A motion to approve the minutes.
second,
Second.
any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstained, motion carries. Now, I know you don't want this last one. Motion to adjourn.
You sure you wanna leave?
Do I have a motion to adjourn or go sick?
Motion to adjourn. Do you want to give Thomas
Oh, I was
thanks
gonna
for
say,
his service?
favor.
Aye.
Now, before we do, you're right, Thomas, this is his last meeting in for us today because he's been transferred out. So I'm gonna